Hey guys, Skybird here, and today we're checking out more progress on the Sky Tyrant. I'm really happy with where this is going so far, though there are a couple of gripes that I want to get out of the way right off the bat. The head movement, it's cool. It might be a little too much. There are ways, of course, I can make it less dynamic, move a little bit less, and it's neat to have the head actually be able to look forward as it flaps its wings, but you probably don't want it to do it every time, you know? So there are spots on the model itself where I can actually leave the head stationary, or I can mess around with linkages some more, but there are a lot of moving parts in here, so I want to be careful with it, right? Not only because I want this to work consistently, but also because, if I put out instructions for building this or the file for building this, I want it to be easy enough to understand for others as well. What's really cool about this is that these linkages on each side can also be squeezed to retract these wings, which is very nice, and they tuck into the body pretty well. Then these claws are actually on a ball joint, both at the wrist joint and further down, so two wrists, I guess, but that just allows you to kind of tuck them out of the way if you want to. I did design a piece of cloth to go over these wings out of a grocery bag, nothing fancy, but it's just too weak right now, so I will probably just take some kind of cloth and repurpose that later on. But I'm super happy with how it works, and it's fascinating because it works off of just one mechanism now, meaning that the flapping wings also unfold the wings when they're in that folded position. What's even cooler too, in my opinion, involving that moving head, is that the trigger actually has like two phases to it, right? So it moves down a little bit, which allows you to move the head, as you can see here, but there's a tactile stop in that position, right? And you can actually go past that, but it allows you to just move the head if that's all you want to move, or to fully extend the wings as well. It's a neat little function. I'll play around with it a bit more just to see if I want to keep it. But again, it just relies on if I want to even keep the head moving to the degree it is in the first place, if that's going to stay or not. It's not a big deal if it's not there. It's not a big deal if it is there, but it's a neat little side effect of the function. Interestingly, the fact that this trigger mechanism both unfolds the wings and flaps the wings was kind of unintended. It came out of the necessity for a different piece, specifically this gearbox piece right here. It's a Technic gearbox, and it's a lovely piece, honestly, but what I found quite fascinating about it was that it essentially solves two problems that I had, right? Previously, I was using this piece right here, which is a useful piece. Obviously, it's been around Technic for a very long time, but the axle holes on this are quite fragile, known to be very fragile. Modern ones are better, but I can't guarantee that someone's going to know the difference between a modern and a classic version of it. And so why not just eliminate this piece entirely? Well, that gearbox does this. Not only does this allow for this piece to be much stronger, much more resilient, but it also locks the wings in so that they can't come off. Like, it's not just that it's not fragile anymore, the actual gearbox goes around both sides of the wings. So by putting a axle in there with a stopper on it, with the stud right here in this case, that actually just prevents that from moving entirely. So it's really cool, and I'm super glad that it works as well as it does. It also doesn't limit the movement of the wings. As you can see, they go quite high, they go quite low, so I'm really happy. They have a very natural kind of form of movement to them, as you can see here. So yeah, really happy with where it is going so far. As I mentioned, I'll mess around with the head more and more, kind of like the fin rack head. I know I was talking about probably using my custom piece for it, and that may happen, but I don't hate the fin rack. It's more dragon-like than crocodilian, which is the design I'm going for the other head mold, and so it just works. It works really well. Alongside that, we have the two ball joints on the base here for attaching the legs so that the legs can be stronger. And you also have two ball joints on the back to attach the tail, which is a swooshable tail. That's very similar to the Calterex set that I've designed, very similar to the bow snake Rahi that I designed, one of the very first Rahi I ever designed. And so it's a great design. Why not use it elsewhere? It's a bit of a repetitive build, but it's a very quick build, thankfully. And so I think it's not repetitive in the way that like Scopio's treads are, And so yeah, it works out really well in that case. So really happy with the design of this so far. As I mentioned, it's going to be a wyvern type dragon here. Haven't decided on anything for like a bottom jaw here, but yeah, very happy with it, to be honest. And my thoughts are it's probably going to be dark green, in all honesty, just because that's not a color we get on a lot of Titan type characters. And so outside of that, my thoughts are that the wings for it, the cloth for the wings, would either be sand green or dark tan. I think both of those colors would work best. And since the gimmick for my wave that I'm developing, the Bar Magnet Challenge, is cloth, is capes, is waistcoats, is whatever, right? Robes and etc. My thought is that there are several colors I'm going to be using over and over again for a lot of those capes because they are A, budgeting, of course, but also B, that's kind of not consistent. What's the word I'm thinking of? It ties things together more. And so my thoughts right now is I'm probably going to use capes in like dark brown, mostly dark colors, just because I think it makes the most sense given what these characters are trying to do. Though, maybe the white character will have like a light gray or a sand blue or something like that. So there'll still be some lighter colors in their dark tan, but muted, right? Because it's going for sort of that sky pirate vibe. I think that muted colors make a little more sense, and bright colors work really well also. But I think I want to save the brighter colors for accents, right? So maybe for the insignias on some of the designs, or for if there's an extra piece of cloth that goes around that cape, similar to some Star Wars cloths where they actually have black and red on them. I'm not familiar with them enough because I don't own any of them, but you get my point there. So really happy with how this is coming out so far, and honestly just super excited for it. Started out yesterday just thinking about the idea of essentially making wings that could both fold and flap and do so with the same function. I didn't expect this was going to be how I achieved it. My expectation, if you're familiar with the Dragon Bolt set from Hero Factory, that has a function very similar to the Skull Basher set. You push a button and it moves these wings, right? My thought was that I was going to modify that function so that a button would flap the wings, and then like twisting the button would unfold and fold the wings. But that's really clunky, and then there are other issues that come from that as well. Plus, I would like for a character to ride on this dragon, so it obviously takes up a decent amount of space, right? This is much cleaner in my opinion. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to have the character riding yet, but that's fine because I have plenty of places to still attach things. There's essentially an entire axle going through here right now that really has nothing but spacers used. So if I wanted to use one of those to attach maybe the Onua Mystica shield, Bittle wing, whatever you want to call that piece, or something else, and then attach character directly to that, I think it would work really well. And honestly, there's kind of like the perfect shape for it. So that's pretty much it for this video though, guys. If you guys did enjoy this one, yeah, let me know by commenting. Let me know what you guys think about this build or what else I should make, who should ride this. And I have some ideas already. I think it's a little controversial, but that's okay. And outside of that, of course, just want to say, if you want to check out Discord, Instagram, or Patreon, support the channel, get some perks, you can do so by checking out the description below. Links are all there, and just make sure I'm bad at speaking. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you later. Take care.